wanted to show you how to make my famous yeast roll and cinnamon roll recipe. It is a recipe that's been passed down for a while, and I just wanted to show you today how to make it. I actually have already made it in my stand mixer, and it is really simple. I will post the recipe below as well, but I wanted to show you the consistency of it and what it looks like. And so it's not sticky. I mean, it's sticky, but it's not. You can pull it and it doesn't stick to your fingers, but it is still a little bit sticky. And all it is just a half a cup of warm water and 2 tablespoons of yeast. You mix that together, and while that's set aside, you melt a half cup butter, 2 cups milk, 1/3 cup sugar together in a saucepan, or I just put it in the microwave until it's warm and all the butter's melted. You pour that in with your yeast, and you start your mixer up, or if you're doing it by hand, you can mix it all together. And then you're going to gradually add about 6 cups of flour. I start with 6 cups. Sometimes you have to go to 7 cups, depends on you and your environment, until it's gotten this consistency. So it's very stringy, but it is not, I mean, it sticks to my fingers, but it also comes off of my fingers. So that's the consistency you're looking for. The next step is to have a big proofing bowl. I have a huge proofing bowl, and you're going to put just a little bit of oil in there and dump your dough in there and let it rise for about an hour. If you don't have an hour, which today I don't have an hour, I'm going to set it under a heating pad, and that's going to do the trick for me. So it's going to rise until it's doubled in size, and then we're going to go ahead and make our rolls and our cinnamon rolls. Okay, so our dough has risen, it has doubled in size. One of the important things you want to remember when you're rising and proofing dough is to put plastic wrap over top of it. A lot of people, especially old timers, will put a towel over it, and that's great, but it actually doesn't retain the moisture that helps the bread or dough rise much quicker. So I highly suggest switching to plastic wrap if you haven't already. I know it's an issue, some people don't want to be wasteful, but it does help. So another thing people have been interested in is the heating pad. You can see here I have a heating pad with a towel over top of it. The heating pad is on low, and it helps double the time that it takes, or cuts down by 50% the time that it takes for the dough to rise. So here's my beautiful dough. It's a very simple yeast dough, and you can see it's very firm. I'm not touching too hard, but it's very firm. And so the next part of this is you just punch it down, and you're going to pull off walnut-sized balls of dough and put it in your pan. I'll show you. So I really only need 1 pan for this, but I'm going to show you how to make your dough balls. So I've punched down my dough, and you do that by just folding it over in your bowl. And then I'm going to pull off a walnut size, as in walnut in the shell size, piece of dough. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take it, you're going to make a round hole with your fingers, and you're going to push that dough up through it to get a really nice and smooth surface. And then you've got your little roll. So I'm going to do this about 9 to 12 times. I'm just pulling it off, pushing it through my fingers, making that hole until I get a nice little ploppy thing right here, and then I'm just putting it in. So I have my rolls. I only need 1 pan of rolls today because otherwise we'll eat the whole pan. So now I'm going to show you how to use the same exact recipe to make cinnamon rolls. You're going to start rolling your cinnamon rolls out. You're going to need to roll them out. So you're going to start with just a very lightly floured surface. I'm also going to flour my mason jar because it's just easier for me to use a mason jar. You're going to roll your dough out, turn your dough out, and get it floured on each side. Now you can see you've got quite a bit of dough left. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little rectangle out of it because that's how it's going to need to be. is a rectangle. And then I'm just going to start rolling it out into a rectangle the same way. And you might be asking how I'm using the mason jar. It's just putting your fingers in it and just rolling it. Just very much like a rolling pin when you're using the mason jar. So we've rolled it into a big giant rectangle. Now we're going to add all the goodness inside. I have about 2 tablespoons of softened butter. You could also melt it, but softened does the trick just as well. And you're just going to rub it all over your dough. I forgot to mention that your dough should be about a ½ inch thick. You might need a little more butter. The warmth from your hand is going to start melting the butter so that you can spread it out. Don't want a lot of butter or else you're going to have really soggy cinnamon rolls. Okay, now we're just going to sprinkle some sugar. No really measurement amount, I just sprinkle it so that it's all sprinkled on it even. I use evaporated cane juice, organic evaporated cane juice. And as long as it's spread out evenly, you're fine. You're going to add cinnamon the same way. You're just going to have it on the sprinkle. And you will sprinkle liberally with cinnamon. Again, you can adjust to your taste, but I like more cinnamon. Okay, now we're going to roll it. We're going to start from this side and roll it pretty tightly.